All right. We are, I would say live, but we're not going to be live. But this is another episode. This is the fourth episode of the Horsemen Pro Football Talk. And I am Brad.
I'm Zach.
I'm Jeff.
And today we're going to talk about the AFC East. I'm representing today. And we're going to break every team down in the division, and give our predictions on their records and what we think is going to happen. Right?
Yep.
Cool. All right.
So, what do you guys think about doing a little trivia action today? You two facing off against each other.
Jeff and I?
Yeah, both of you.
I'll be down with that.
Okay.
Is it general knowledge, or is it AFC East, or?
It is purely AFC East. There might be a little surprises in there, but I only have a few questions. But I figured you guys could face off. Maybe future episodes we'll get a guest on to kind of go off against one of us and take it from there.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Okay.
Hopefully, there's a bunch of old questions, so us old timers can keep up. If it's anything in the last 10 years, I'm in trouble.
All right, no cheating. You can't look it up. Straight off your head.
Hand check.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, who wants to go first?
Doesn't matter.
Let the elderman go first.
All right.
Say let the better looking one go first.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
First question.
Yeah.
Name the 6 current NFL franchises that have participated in the AFC East. One of them has changed their name.
Yeah, so that would be obviously the 4 that are in there now: Buffalo and Miami, New England, and New York. The Colts and
Ooh. 5 seconds.
Yeah, I can't pull it out in 5 seconds. It's one of those things I know, and when you say it, I'm not gonna be real happy.
Oh yeah. All right, time's up. The Houston Oilers, who are now the Tennessee Titans.
I don't think I knew that.
Really?
Maybe, yeah. I don't think I did know that. Just being honest and transparent. Did you know that, Jeff?
I didn't. I knew it because he said the team changed names. That's the only reason I knew.
Yeah. And I started thinking, well, the Browns weren't in the East, and I don't know. Never mind.
Hey, you were close. You got 5 out of the 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Other than the Patriots, who was the last team to win the AFC East?
The New York Jets. They went to AFC Championship 2 years in a row.
That is incorrect. Miami Dolphins, 2008.
Oh wow. So that was the year that Brady went down, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
It was the Matt Castle year, right?
It may have been, yeah. But before the Dolphins, it was the Jets in 2002.
Oh wow.
All right, so you guys are still tied up.
All right.
0-0.
All right.
Next question for Brad. How many total Super Bowl titles does the AFC East have?
Ooh, it'd be 8.
That is incorrect. Jeff, you want to steal?
I would say that'd be 9, right?
That is also incorrect. 10.
All right, so the Patriots have 6. The Dolphins, I had the Dolphins as 1 and the Jets as 1. Dolphins have 2.
And the Baltimore Colts in 1970. And also,
I should have known that.
There's also 5 AFL championships among AFC East teams.
Okay.
The Oilers won in 1960-61. The Bills won in 64-65. And the Jets Super Bowl in 68. They won the Super Bowl and the AFL championship in 68.
Interesting.
Yep.
Little fun fact there.
Which was at that for a very, very long time. That was the greatest upset in NFL history.
Yeah, against the Colts.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you ready?
Yes, sir.
out of any player to ever play for an AFC East team, who holds the most all-time league rushing yards?
Oh, that's a really good question. Is it somebody that like played their whole career? Could
I
they?
can't. I'm not
Wait,
giving you hints.
whoa.
Um, mm, I can't remember the
What
name.
color jersey did he wear? No, I'm just messing with you, Jeff.
What's his name start with?
I think it's the Buffalo running back from the Super Bowl teams, but I can't remember that guy's
That would be Thurman Thomas.
name. Thomas.
That is incorrect. Brad, would
Mr.
you like
Ed-
to steal?
I'm gonna say Adrian James.
That is also incorrect.
Wow.
He is still an active player today. If you would like to take a stab at it for half a point.
Frank Gore with the Bills.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep. Good old Frank. He's number 3 on the all-time rushing list.
So to go back to Jeff's initial question, is he still with the same team? That's what you were getting ready to ask, right?
Yeah. I feel like stayed with one team his whole career or something.
Yeah. So the Frank Gore, I don't know. That's a little iffy, considering he's only been with the Bills, 2 years?
Hey, the question was, out of any player to ever play for an AFC East team.
Okay, good point. So does Thomas have more yards than Edge? He does, doesn't he?
I don't know. I know Edrin's like 12th all time.
Yeah, I don't know where Thurman Thomas ranks.
I have no idea.
He was fun to watch. He was a lot of fun to watch.
All right, moving on.
All right.
What is it, still 0-0?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, if we get a guest on, maybe they might win a free T-shirt or something. All right, Brad, you're up. You ready?
Yeah.
Since 1970, only one of the 4 teams currently in the AFC East has made a change to their full name. Who is it?
I don't know.
It is Jeff. You want to steal?
Can you repeat the question?
Since 1970, only one of the 4 teams currently in the AFC East has made a change to their full name. Who is it?
Now, I'm gonna let Jeff answer, but if he gets it wrong, I want to guess. The only reason I didn't guess is because I don't know, and I can't. But I have a pretty good guess.
I'm gonna that'd be the Oilers, right? They changed to the Texans.
Only one of the 4 teams currently in the AFC East has made a change to their full name.
I don't know, the Patriots.
Was that what you were going to guess, Dad?
I was gonna guess the Jets.
It was the Patriots.
Really?
In 1970, they were the Boston Patriots and changed their name in 71 to the New England Patriots.
Oh yeah.
I gotcha.
Oh my gosh.
Jeff with the steal.
Let's go.
This is terrible. Yeah, I got to let people know now. Okay, Jeff. In all fairness, you guessed, dude.
Oh yeah, definitely just.
I want to convince people we really do know what we're talking about with football. This is terrible. This is a terrible showing.
All right, last question, Jeff. If you get it right, you clinch it. If not, he has a chance to steal and tie it up. You ready?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
From 1966 to 2001, the AFC East had 5 teams in the division. Which team left after 2001?
Oh
Gosh.
gosh.
The Houston Texans.
What was that? The Texans?
Texans, yeah. Oilers to the Texans, yeah.
That is incorrect, and I'm highly disappointed right now.
Dude, it's the Colts. They moved to the South.
Oh.
Oh, and we got a tie.
Yeah, the Texans were made in 2001, I think, right?
I think so.
Do you? Yeah, that's right. The creation of the South. So, do you have a tiebreaker?
I do not have a tiebreaker. Only had 6 on the board for today.
All right. Well, we'll just call it even.
Well, I could have a tiebreaker.
Okay.
Let me think of how I want this to go. So there's going to be 2 parts to it, 3 parts.
Okay.
Out of any person who has ever played in the AFC East,
Who are you asking?
either one of you,
Okay.
doesn't matter.
All right.
Whoever wants to throw it out. Out of
All
any
right.
person who has ever played in the AFC East, who has the most NFL MVP awards? They didn't necessarily have to win them in the AFC East.
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. You got Brady, Marino, and Manning are the 3 names that come right off the top of my head.
It has to be Peyton, right?
I would think so, but is it Peyton?
It is Peyton, yep.
Yeah.
So,
I
all
was,
right.
Let's call it even.
All right. Yeah, Peyton had 5. Johnny Unitas, Tom Brady had 3.
Marino have 1?
I think so. Brett Favre had 3, but he won those with the Packers, but he also played a season for the Jets too.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I got for today. Good
Cool.
job. You guys
All
tied.
right. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with tying. I'm just not cool with the showing. We're gonna have to brush up and raise our game here. All right. So what team do we want to talk about first?
Start at the bottom. Well, that's a relative question.
Yeah,
All right. It isn't. Let me kick this off. It is not. Jesus Christ, Adam Gase. Seriously? I say that. Look, I say that because I saw someone write an article calling the New York Jets the dark horse to win the AFC East. Are you kidding me right now? I don't know if this guy's actually making money for what he's writing or whatever. But this is just look. Let's run through Adam Gase real quick. All right. Actually, let's not. Let me sit this part out. Let's talk about their draft. Let's talk about their player moves. Talk about their offensive defense, and then let me wrap this up with the Jets.
Yeah, that'll
Go
work.
ahead. Go ahead, Jeff.
All right. So I have the Jets actually in 3rd place by the end of the season, finishing up 2-14. But like you're saying, I don't really have a whole lot of faith in Gase either. He gets a lot of credit for Peyton being able to carry him to a Super Bowl, and he got jobs off that. Sam Darnold, I feel like they brought Joe Flacco in not only to be that veteran presence for Sam Darnold, but to also, Sam Darnold ends up not being that guy and he can't step up and win them football games. They might just throw Joe Flacco in there and start looking in a different direction next year. And, Le'Veon Bell, when you go back and look at the numbers that he was having with the Steelers and look at the grades that those offensive linemen were getting and their overall grade and everything, he was running behind really good offensive lines. He was able to be patient behind that line, let them get to where they're going, and then you'd hit the hole. He's not the most athletic guy. He's not the fastest guy. So I think the offensive line in New York is still kind of a problem. They have a really young roster overall, realistically. But I believe that their 2 starting tackles this year are both going to be rookies. And, overall, it's not the best offensive line. And I think that'll affect Le'Veon Bell and Sam Darnold the same. Then Robbie Anderson left to go to the Panthers. He was their number 1 receiver. And so now they're going to depend on Jamison Crowder, who is, I don't know, maybe 9 years deep into his career, something like that. And, not supposed to be a number 1. And so they went out and got Rashad Perriman, who when we went to Tampa and watched the Bucks play the Colts, we watched Rashad Perriman tear the Colts up. because Mike Evans was hurt that game, Godwin was hurt that game, but Rashad Perriman tore it up, and he tore some other teams up. So they paid him. I don't really know how that's going to go because he didn't do anything before last year. Overall, the Jets have a really good defense. That's really all they have to fall back on. Their defensive line leaves much to be desired, but their linebackers in the secondary is about as solid as it comes. Like I said earlier, the team is really young. They got a couple of really young corners that they drafted in the last year or two. But I mean, can't really expect a whole lot from the Jets this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump in on that. I agree. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to be the guy at all. I'd give him maybe another 2 years, 3 if they want to extend it out, especially with that coaching staff. I know Brad's going to touch on that here very soon. But I do like Greg Williams as a defensive coordinator. I do think their defense is going to be very, very good. They have Jamal Adams coming back. He was their only Pro Bowler last year. On the offensive side, you're right about Le'Veon. He had it made in Pittsburgh. I don't know why he left there to go to the Jets. That's a whole different story. But they did sign Frank Gore. They have Gore in the backfield. So maybe he'll take the power rushing up the middle. Le'Veon can do what he does on the outside. That might help them. I just don't think they're going to do very well this year overall. I think I have them 4-12, 1-5 in the division. I think they win against the Patriots at home.
Yeah, so all right, so their defense last year, I mean, I'll start with the positive. I don't want to completely be negative, but their defensive coordinator is Greg Williams, right?
Yeah.
Top 10 defense last year. Good, good for them. But the offense let a lot to be desired. I don't even know. I think the offensive coordinator came from Miami. I don't even really know who this guy is, to be quite honest. But it doesn't matter, right? I mean, Adam Gase. What is Gase known for? He was the offensive coordinator on John Fox in Denver and won a Super Bowl. But damn it, he had Peyton Manning. I could have been the offensive coordinator and won the Super Bowl that year with Peyton Manning. We all know what Peyton Manning's known for. He's different than other quarterbacks in the sense that the offense ran through Peyton Manning. The entire offense ran through Peyton Manning. By the time he was in Denver, he could have been an offensive coordinator himself. And so I can't. That's it. That's all he's got. And they didn't even win, right? I mean, the year he took them, I think they got blown out.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, he had 1 year of success coaching one of the greatest, if not the greatest, statistically quarterback to ever play the game, and that's it. Other than that, he can name drop Nick Saban and John Fox. I don't know why. I don't know why this guy keeps getting hired. He hasn't proven anything. He had one good season with Miami, 10-6 his first year. He went downhill from there. They ran him out after 3 years. His total record in 4 years is 30-34. And we can talk about whether Sam Darnold's going to do this and the defense is going to do that. I don't care who you're talking about. You can have the fastest car and the best team running in the Indianapolis 500, but if your grandmother's driving it, you're not going to win. It's over. Sorry, Jets fans. It's another year at the bottom of the cellar. It's the only AFC team, in my opinion, without any chance of winning the division. Jeff, I know that you think that the Patriots are going to do worse. I don't see how there's any way at all that Adam Gase has a better record at the end of the year than Bill Belichick. I don't. If nothing else, Belichick will punch him in the face before the game to give him a concussion. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't see it. I can't stand. You guys know I can't stand coaches that keep getting this North Turner, Jim Caldwell crap where these guys don't do anything, and then you have good coaches who aren't given a chance to warm up and get things going. I just don't see it for New York.
I agree. But I will throw in there that in the Horsemen Pro Football Talk fan poll, the Jets took 9% of the vote as to who will win the AFC East this year.
All right. I want whoever voted for the Jets to come on for the next trivia session.
It's a challenge. Step up. Don't be shy.
All right. I don't Jeff and I are going to disagree here, but because we decided to go from the bottom, and I chose the Jets. Jeff has the Jets. Oh, by the way, I think I have the Jets only winning 2 games too. But Jeff, you think the Patriots are going to finish at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's we can move into the Patriots. You probably don't want me to start this one either. I'm going to go on a rant in the other direction on this one.
Start it off, Jeff. Make your argument.
All right, so I'll just throw it out there. I have the Patriots going 1-15.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Patriots 1-15. It's not a guess. That's how it's going to be. Right? And Bill Belichick is a good coach, and Josh McDaniels has done fine. But the amount of talent that they let go of and let go in different places, compared to what they still have on the roster, nobody knows anything about Jared Stidham. Nobody, I can't say nobody knew about him coming out of college, but he's never been a guy where people thought, oh yeah, he could be a every year kind of starter and be an MVP in the league. And that's why you bring in a guy like Brian Hoyer to be his backup. Kind of the same thing that the Jets are doing. You get an experienced guy behind him. Things don't go well, you can throw him in there. Sony Michel and James White. Really, the whole offense is full of names that people know, basically because it's the Patriots, but they're not people that are effective. And you take Tom Brady out of that equation, and how often is Julian Edelman going to get the ball? Is the chemistry going to be the same? I'm sure it's going to be the same offense. They have the same coaches, but Brady knew it so well. Can somebody else come in and do it just the same? And I guess Garoppolo showed that he had what it took, and Castle showed that. So maybe it's possible, but they don't have the talent that they normally have there. As good as that defense was, they lost a lot of key pieces. They still have some good players, but I think that they have a lot of holes that they didn't fill in free agency. They didn't fill it through the draft, and wasn't really sure why the direction was to go with a lot of defensive guys when defense was already the strong part of the team. I thought they would have wanted to put a couple pieces around their young quarterback. But they also have the hardest projected schedule in the league, which doesn't really help their case. So I just don't have a lot of faith in the Patriots.
Yeah, so the Patriots have the hardest. I want to make a quick note of this. The Patriots have the hardest schedule, and I think the Dolphins have the third, and the Bills have the fifth. Is that right?
Yeah. The whole division's in between 25 and 32 on the list of who has the hardest schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. With the parity of this division, it's good. With the parity that I see in this division, it's good that they all have that in common. So one doesn't have, you'd hate to see one of them have the easiest schedule and the other one have the hardest and have it that much of an influence. So, but it is crazy that they're all that strong. What do you think, Zach?
I don't think they're going to be that bad this year. I don't think, obviously, they're going to be the Patriots that we've all known for 2 decades. I have them 8-8, 2-4 in the division. They're going to beat the Jets, and I think I got the Dolphins losing at New England. So they're 2-4 in the division, 8-8 overall. They're not going to make the playoffs. They do have a solid defense. Belichick's a defensive coach. They'll be pretty good like they normally are there. They're returning 2 Pro Bowlers and Dante Hightower and Stephen Gilmore. As far as quarterback goes, I don't know, man. I mean, anybody who's ever stepped in for Brady in the past has done well because in my opinion, Brady's a systematic quarterback, so they're all systematic quarterbacks. Hoyer's been there before. I think by the end of the year, Hoyer's going to have a full-time job, to be honest, because this other kid, he's played him, 3 games. He was 2 for 4 with an interception, 14 yards. But I know he did well in the preseason last year. So I don't know. There's a big question mark at quarterback. That's always your most important position. But who knows, man? I think they'll do all right just because of Belichick and his coaching decisions.
All right, here I go. I have told you guys for 10 years, if you're ever putting money down, don't ever bet against Bill Belichick, ever. If we haven't learned anything since 2003, you don't ever bet against. Not that he's not infallible and doesn't lose, but you never know when it's coming, right? Let me run down a little bit, and I know this is going to hurt. It hurt me. It hurt me to put these notes down. All right, it's going to hurt to hear him because we're Colts fans. Since 2000, he's led the Patriots to 17 AFC East division titles. 13 appearances in the AFC Championship game, 9 Super Bowl appearances with a record 6 wins. He's won 8 Super Bowl titles and finished as runner-up 4 times from his combined time as an assistant and head coach, including defensive coordinator with the Giants in Super Bowl 21 and 25 in 1986 and 1990. So he's the longest tenured active head coach, first all-time in playoff coaching wins with 31, third in regular season coaching wins in the NFL with 261. He's only one of 3 coaches to have won 6 NFL titles. There are other teams, the Steelers, and I think Cowboys have 5. He's only the 3rd coach. The other 2 are, that should be a trivia question. You guys know who the other 2 are?
Don Shula?
Good guess, but no. Jeff, you want to take a stab?
Huh? Landry and Noel?
No. Good guesses. No. Papa Bear Hallis, Curly Lambeau. He's the only coach to do it in the Super Modern Bowl era. He was named the AFP NFL Coach of the Year in 2003, 2007, and 2010. He's the only active coach named to the National Football League 100th Anniversary All-Team. He's the greatest coach to ever coach the game. Those statistics I just read are just unmatchable, period. The only way that I see this happening is that the game is passing him by, that he doesn't have the energy, he doesn't have it in him anymore, that it's getting technical, and that happens to coaches that I've seen in my whole life. I don't know if that's the case or not. Or Jeff, maybe he tanks. He's not stupid. He could throw the whole year away and try to reload for next year. I just think this guy has a way, and we talked about it with Matt Castle and Jimmy Garoppolo, and he just has a way of plugging things into his system that work, or manipulating his system to make it work. Or I don't know what he does. I would venture to say there isn't anybody that knows what he does, or they'd win 6 titles. So I just can't bet against the guy. Now I've got them third in the East. In all fairness, I'm kind of tipping my hand here a little bit. I personally think the East is a 3-way toss-up. I think the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots, any one of the 3 could win it. Any one of the 3 could bomb. The Patriots could, win 5 games, or they could win. I don't think they'll win any more than 11. I think they're somewhere between that 5-win to 11-win swing in there. I know that's a broad range, but it all comes down to how the other 2 teams I talked about, Buffalo and Miami. Buffalo shows up like everybody thinks they're going to, which we're getting ready to get into that. And what Miami does under Flores. But so I don't really know. I've got them third, but I think it's so unpredictable. I really think this is going to be the division to watch. One of the divisions to watch. I think a lot of the other ones have a pretty clear front runner, and if not 2 strong teams. But I think any one of these 3 teams can make the playoffs here.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, I don't think it'd be a bad idea, because the realistic chance of Belichick tanking, probably not high, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. He already lost enough players this past off season, and he needs to be able to clear some cap space. So if he kind of pulls off what the Dolphins did last year, where they just give away players and cut players off the roster, you get cap space, you get some draft capital, and the Dolphins were able to use all that capital to sign a bunch of players that are going to be key role guys this year. They have a bunch of draft picks that they're bringing in this year, have a bunch of draft picks still next year from some of those moves. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the route that Bill Belichick want to take. People like one of the McCourtys, or trade off both the McCourtys at some point in the year, get rid of those contracts, something like that.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Man, if I'm Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick comes in and says, "Don't expect anything this year," I wouldn't have to think long back and hard to be able to be like, okay, everything that guy's given to the franchise. I don't know. We'll see. But there is again there. I want to point out there is a real possibility that this whole thing could have passed him by. And the Patriots just may be an average team from here on out.
Man, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm sure all the AFC East fans and the former AFC East fans, everybody but anybody in Boston agrees, I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, as much as this pains me to do this, I'll go with the Dolphins next, because I know both of you guys have Buffalo sitting at the top of the AFC East. So you guys know. All right, let's start. The Dolphins have the third hardest schedule, as we mentioned. They're going to have to play the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks is at home in Miami. They're going to play at San Francisco, at Denver. They got the Chargers, the Rams, and I think they're also going to play the Cardinals in Arizona. That makes it tough. They had an 0-7 start last year under Flores. Flores is in his second year. 0-7 start, finished 5-4 at the end of the year. So you guys know how I feel about Brian Flores. I looked up some statistics, and this kind of goes back on some of the conversations we've had about Flores, and we've had about guys like Caldwell. For as much as I can't stand Jim Caldwell, I talk about him an awful lot. I need to get some therapy or something to get him out of my head. So last year, the Dolphins had their false starts and defensive offsides ranked 6th and 3rd in the league, respectively. And they were tied for 11 in fumbles. Now, interceptions were a different story. You got Fitzpatrick. You're going to get a lot of touchdowns, but you're going to get a lot of interceptions that come with it. So obviously, that's a glaring problem need to be fixed. But I want to focus on the false starts, the defensive offsides, and the fumbles. Those statistics are indicative of the kind of discipline that's in the locker room. And we've seen with guys like Caldwell and Norv Turner and these guys that I complain, Adam Gase, their penalties are traditionally very high, which is indicative of the lack of discipline in the locker room. And you can't build a championship program unless it's disciplined. We've seen that with Bill Belichick. And he's out of the Bill Parcells school and a lot of the old school coaches that I mentioned with Papa Bear Hallis and Curly Lambeau. You can win some games and you can win some championships, but you don't build a solid foundation without discipline. And I think that Flores has done that. We know, being down here, watching very closely, that Flores came in and cleaned. He just cleaned the locker room out. He got rid of players that people were like, "What in the hell is this guy doing? He doesn't know what he's doing." And people got down on him real quick. Everybody. And I loved it. I knew exactly what he was doing. He was setting a foundation. This is the way we do things. And if you don't like it, you don't belong here. And I don't care who you are and what you're making and what you're capable of. You're gone. And I think that's going to be. I think that building that foundation is going to be huge. Obviously, discipline doesn't equate. It doesn't quite equate with wins. I mean, it takes talent, it takes X's and O's, and it takes a lot of luck, to win. But I think it is the foundation. Without the discipline, you can't have the winning. You just can't. So I think the downsides with Flores. it's too early to tell. It's only a second year, right? So things look good from here. We could all just be completely way off. We've seen a lot of sophomore coaches with promise come in and just drive the train the other way. You have no idea what happened. Um, I hate to discredit this guy, but I'll never understand how a linebacker coach can jump to a head coach. That doesn't make any sense to me. Other than you've been in, perhaps the greatest system ever, but I don't even know that really, equates to much either. The New England coaching tree still hasn't proven itself. We're still kind of waiting for that to happen as well. We haven't. Vrabel might be on the verge, Flores might be on the verge, but we haven't really seen a breakout coach yet. They also, as much as I want to praise that they went 5-4 after an 0-7 start, I have to say they only went 5-4 after an 0-7 start. As promising as that is, it's also could be disheartening that it was only 5-4. It's just a notch above 500. So I don't want to put too much stock in that. So the bottom line with this is that this team could go either way. They could win 5 games. They could win 11 games. I've got them on the couple times that I ran through the season predictor. I've got them between 9-7 and 11-5. They could win the division. They could not win the division. It'll be interesting, and they could win 2 games. I honestly don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with the Dolphins being on the rise. This year I got them finishing 10-6, 3-3 in the division. They beat the Jets twice, and they split it with New England. They don't have any Pro Bowlers returning, but they did get some nice pickups this offseason. In addition to drafting Tua, who's going to be probably starting behind Fitzpatrick, who, in my opinion, is a good quarterback. Hopefully Tua can get healthy, learn from him, be there for years to come. But they also have Jordan Howard and Matt Breida in at running back. Their 2 are pretty solid running backs. So they filled that position quite nicely, and I think Devontae Parker is going to have a breakout season. I know he did a couple years ago, but I think he's really going to step up this year. Same with Preston Williams and Albert Wilson. So they have threats out there. They just got to stay healthy, make it all gel, put it together, and we'll see what happens. But I got them the number 5 seed in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that seems a little high for me, in my personal opinion. I got them not having a horrible year. I got them finishing the year at 7-9. Like you were talking about, Brad, I like Brian Flores. I like what that Dolphins team is doing. I think, like I said just a little while ago, they had a lot of draft capital, and I don't even know what that is, 10 or 11 picks it looks like, and they brought in a whole slew of guys in free agency, and like a guy like Kyle Van Noy, I think that's going to be big for the team, and they also brought in Byron Jones to be opposite Xavier Howard, and that defense is going to be or should be pretty scary this year. They got a lot of beef up front and a lot of depth in the secondary now. The offense is really the only question. They have a really young offense outside of Fitzmagic, of course. Devontae Parker finally looked like he could be a number 1 receiver. We'd been waiting for that for like 6 years or something like that. And toward the end of the season, he finally was starting to have a couple 100-yard games. Preston Williams looked like the real deal before he got hurt too. So if those guys can keep producing and be a lethal 1-2 combo for whichever quarterback takes the job, I think it'll be valuable for the offense. But the offensive line is going to be an issue all around. They have Jordan Howard and Matt Breida, who are both serviceable running backs, both capable of being number 1 running backs, but like not top 10 in the league kind of running backs, in my opinion. And behind that offensive line, if you don't have an offensive line that can push people around, then it almost doesn't even matter who you have running the ball or throwing the ball, because they're not going to have time to do anything. So, they're a super young team. Like you said, they have a really hard schedule. They're definitely a team to watch, but I don't think they have anywhere near enough experience to win the division this year.
Yeah, and I I want to agree with you. As much as I just hyped up the Dolphins, you the youth factor is something that is a positive attribute that they have for sure, but it could be a huge determining factor this year that limits their success just because they are so young. And I want to acknowledge that's a very good point.
Well, I will throw in there that in the fan poll, the Dolphins finished third with 25% of the votes.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, the Buffalo had a good year. People aren't going to vote against the Patriots, and the Dolphins haven't proven themselves. Unless you're really paying attention to what's going on down here, that doesn't surprise me, to be honest. I'm just glad the Jets only had 9%. I'm really not a Jets hater, really not. All right.
Did we ever say what percentage of the poll the Patriots took?
They are tied with the Bills at 33%.
Ooh. All right. All right. Well, let's get into the Bills then. All right. Bills have the fifth hardest schedule. They've got Kansas City and San Francisco on their schedule. I would think if they didn't play anybody else, that would be enough to make it the fifth hardest schedule. That's pretty significant. All right, Sean McDermott. I like Sean McDermott. He was coach of the year in 2019. He had the top 10 defense when he was coordinator with Carolina from 2015 2017. But as a head coach, he's only been 9-7, 6-10, and 10-6. He's never won the AFC East, but I'll give him. I'll give him a pass on that, right? I mean, out of 20 years, one team won 17 of them, so you can't really get on too much. But the thing about Sean McDermott, I think this is his shit or get off the pot year. This is he doesn't show out this year. He doesn't have a job. There's no reason. I mean, I just read, we went 9-7, 6-10, and 10-6. He comes out again. He goes 7-9. If I was an owner, I mean, he would have to give me a really good reason to invest another year in him. I don't know what his contract looks like, but I would just think this is the year that he doesn't have any excuses after this. And so I think that, that can work in his favor. It can work against him, right? I don't know if it's too much pressure. I don't know if it's something that he's looking forward to. The AFC is wide open. The AFC East, we've talked about it. Buffalo can certainly show out, finally do what they haven't done for a long time, and win the division. And is it more pressure? Maybe is it more pressure because he's expected to win? I don't know. But I've also got them in the 9-7 to 11-5 swing. It'll depend on how the other teams do, how they do. A lot of parity in the top three teams.
Yeah, I got him going a little bit better than that at 12-4, 6-0 in the division. I like Sean McDermott. He took him to the playoffs 2 years. Brian DeBoll, is that how you say his last name? The offensive coordinator. He's a Belichick and Saban kind of guy. He's won 5 Super Bowls and a national championship coaching underneath them. And their defensive coordinator is Leslie Frazier. So I think this is going to be the year for Buffalo. They're going to take it 12-4, sweep the entire division. They have 3 returning Pro Bowlers, 2 on the defensive side. Josh Allen's playing great. He's on the way up. Devin Singletary showed promise last year. I think he's going to step up. And they acquired Stephon Diggs, who's just an absolute monster. And then you have John Brown on the outside, Cole Beasley in the slot. I think they'll do well.
Yeah, no doubt. And they did a good job of, for as much talent as they had, they got even deeper this year. Like you said, bringing in Stephon Diggs is going to open everything up. John Brown was with the Ravens, I believe it was, for a little while and could never really get going at all. In his first year with the Bills, he had 72 catches for 1,060 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then you have Cole Beasley, who's always been serviceable. He did pretty good with the Cowboys. He provided another 6 touchdowns for Josh Allen. The offensive line isn't the greatest, and they didn't really go that way in the draft. But with Josh Allen's athletic ability, and being able to get outside the pocket and run for touchdowns. He's also gotten better at protecting the ball. Still had 9 interceptions last year. Um, I'm sure he'll keep working to bring that number down. But to have 29 total touchdowns and over 3,500 total yards, and was his second or third year now. Pretty good for a young guy. And then he gets another veteran receiver. And then the defense, up in the air what's going to happen with Ed Oliver. He's a beast of a man. He's a monster. But he might not be there for at least a couple games. Jerry Hughes, former Colt, still don't know why we released him. He's one of the best edge rushers in the league. And they drafted a guy, AJ Epinesa. I hope I'm saying that right. And he's supposed to be a beast. I'm not a huge college football guy, so I don't know much about him. But I've heard a lot of really good things about him. Like in the schedule, having one of the hardest schedules is going to work against him a little bit, but I still have him going 13-3 this year.
Wow. I want to say, with you 13-3 and Zach, you at 12-4, that if you asked me to rank these teams in the probability that they'd win the division, I would have Buffalo at the top, and probably New England, and then Miami and the Jets. I know everything we talked about. I think I explained a lot of the variables. We talked about a lot of things, but when push comes to shove, I think from a probability standpoint, I'd rank the teams in that order, with Buffalo having the greatest opportunity. But this will be a fun division to watch, like I said.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good one this year.
Yeah. All right. So we want to let people know that we're looking for people to join us, right? We want people who what are we doing next? Zach,
NFC West.
The NFC West. There's got to be some Niners fans out there. I'm sure there's a lot of different fans out there, but
yeah, they were everywhere last February.
Yeah, so what we're looking for is someone. We don't want somebody to just get on and talk trash. We don't want someone to get on just because you like your team, but we'd like somebody who can bring something about the division and educate us, teach us something about the division that we didn't know. So if that's you or someone let us know. We'd love to have you on, and who knows, you might win some NFC West trivia. Speaking of trivia, before we sign off, I've got one for you guys.
Bring it on.
All right. In the history of the NFL, all right, history of the NFL, who is the only coach to be the head coach of a single organization twice, but never actually coach a game?
I would say Bill Belichick, but because of the Jets debacle.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah, and the Browns, Jets and Browns.
No. It was the Jets. He was actually interim coach for a day under Parcells, and then he was head coach for a day after Parcells.
Oh, I knew he's a head coach. I didn't know he's an intern coach.
Yeah, at the beginning, there was a contract negotiation or something or other, and he was the interim head coach for, I think it was a day, but it was a short period of time where they finalized Parcells' deal, and then there's when Parcells left and turned it over to him, and he decided to go to New England.
Nice.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well, that's it for today. And like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. Let us know if you know anything about the NFC West or any of the upcoming. I mean, we're going to do the NFC West, the AFC West, the NFC North, and the AFC North, right? Or
yeah, then the South.
And the South.
South is last. Yep.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of episodes coming up. If you're a big fan, let us know. And if you just like us, let us know. And we appreciate your support.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yep.